Hello everybody, Travis Berardi alongside Hayden Gray, once again bringing you your high school football area passing, rushing, and receiving leaders through week 8. And, unless somebody goes crazy off here in the next couple of weeks, the top 10 will pretty much stay the same except for a couple people below it. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the passing leaders, and it's dominated by 3 MOAC players, 3 quarterbacks who top the list.
Yeah, it's dominated by Marshall Shepard and Caden Shadome, but one guy I want to talk about this week, Brady Wink from the Marion Harding Presidents, sitting at 3rd place. He has 2,002 yards this year, 18 touchdowns, 52% completion rate, and he's someone who is quick on his feet too. He brings kind of that dual threat, and so the Marion Harding offense hitting their stride, and there's someone to watch out for as we move into the last bit of the season. And then finally, I would like to jump down in just the 4th place and give Wooster quarterback Drew Becker a little bit of love. His first week on our list, 1,955 yards for Drew on the season, 18 touchdowns, and he's someone who has some patience in the pocket. He trusts his wide receivers, able to make some good plays and make it onto our list.
Yeah, and also a shout out to Jack Gregory, who makes it back into the list. He's in 8th right now. A couple players dropped down due to, off weeks, but, that'll be moving. Like I said, the last, 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe 8 and 9 as well. It'll be flip-flopping back and forth, so we'll see who gets that top 10 spot after week 10 in a couple of weeks. Moving on to the receiving leaders, where 2 Shelby Whippets continue to be at the top. They still have a 350-yard lead on 3rd place despite having an off week against West Holmes. But below that, a couple people moving around in the top 10.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some of that movement because one guy who's been able to stay on our list, I know a lot of the tension's been on those Shelby wide receivers, but South Central's Carson Music, he's 4th on our list this week, and Carson's been able to gather 721 yards this year and 6 touchdowns, and that's playing 1 fewer game than everyone else, so a good job from Carson. And then we're going to hop down a little bit to 6, where Ashland wide receiver Jay Metzger has also been able to stay on this list, 677 yards, 5 touchdowns on the year. Almost a big part of their upset against Mansfield Senior a few weeks ago. Not able to get it done, but he has been someone who's going to look to stay on this list for the rest of the season.
And Metzger continues to just creep up the list, and he has a chance at maybe a top 4 finish if he can continue to be solid here in the last couple of weeks. Moving on now, finally, to our rushing leaders, where Dane Nauman continues to dominate at the top along with Lincoln Mollenkopf from Colonel Crawford, but Max Lauer from Northmore starting to creep up as well. He's up to 4th now.
Yeah, K-Matt Trav, we've always had our eyes on Max Lauer, but he's someone who has crept up from not being on our list a couple weeks ago to 8th, all the way up to 4th, and he is someone who is a wrecking ball. He demands 5 or 6 guys if you want to bring him down. 1,068 yards on the year and 13 touchdowns, so a big season for him. And then finally, someone I do want to go down to the bottom of the list to show some love to, though, is in 9th place, Lexington running back Carson Berry. Just another good Lexington running back who's been produced. He almost has 1,000 yards on the year at 978, 14 touchdowns. So with these last 2 weeks, he'll probably be able to eclipse that 1,000-yard mark. And he's been able to help a struggling Minutemen offense who is still trying to really, I think, find some identity at this point in the year. But I think they'll have some good pieces moving forward.
And another team worth noting, Seneca East, they now have 2 rushers in the top 10. Thanks to St. Paul not playing, Will Stieber drops down to 11th. But Gavin Hargis from Seneca East jumping up to number 10. They also have Jesse Beckman at number 8. But Northmore, big matchup against Centerburg. Jack Gregory versus Max Lauer coming up. You also have Connor Morse at number 3. He has a huge one on Saturday. Can they be the first team in quite a while to finally knock off St. Paul and clinch at least a share of the Firelands Championship? We'll see. It'll be Stieber versus Connor Morse coming up on Saturday. But on Friday, we want to make sure to let you know, tune in to the Friday Night Pigskin, 11:30 right here on the OH Report, live and free, 11:30 Friday night after all of our games. We have a huge lineup. We have 9.
Biggest week today.
We have 9 highlighted and live games coming your way this week. We'll be at Loudonville for the Orville-Loudonville matchup, but a lot of big games coming up, so we'll highlight some of these players on our list, and we'll give you scores from all around the area and much, much more Friday night at 11:30 right here on the OH Report, Facebook and YouTube, and as always, it's live and free. But for now, we out.